You've experienced that point when you just break. What broke was me and my spirituality. I felt completely betrayed by Source, betrayed by everything I believe in, and it all fell apart. I wasn't me. I didn't care about me. I didn't care about anything. There are certain nights, there are certain moments where it's like you feel you hit rock bottom. If you're at that point, I promise you. So a lot of you have been asking, where have I been? Where did I go? What happened? Why did I stop making videos? And part of this video is answering that question. And the other part of the video is talking about being in a state of overwhelm, talking about being in a state of stress and how it can sometimes sneak up on you. No matter how healthy you are, no matter how in tune with energy you are, no matter how far along you are on your path, sometimes life shifts, sometimes life changes, and there's an effect that happens that can start out super small, and it grows and it grows and it grows to where all of a sudden you're not making videos anymore. Now, there's a few disclaimers that I want to begin with this video, or I want to begin this video with. Mostly that I have no idea where this video is going to go or going to take us. And there are definitely certain topics that I want to make sure and touch on in this video to be able to help anyone else out there who's watching this, who might be either have already experienced or might be in a state of overwhelm, who might be in a state of it's too much, or in a state of, I don't know what to do. I have so many different things coming at me and going on in my life, and I don't know where to go. I don't know which direction to take. Or just in a complete state of burnout. Just you've gone and done so much. You're even when you're being who you're meant to be, even when you're doing the very things that you're supposed to be doing, sometimes you can do too much and you just experience burnout. You just experience a point in your life when you say, I can't. So those are the different types of things I'm going to be talking about in this video, and what to do, what to do when you get to that point, and what can happen when you break. What can happen when you absolutely just go through this pressure cooker, and then how to rise out of that, how to be the phoenix coming out of the ashes. Because sometimes your breaking point is actually the best point in your entire life. That's what this video is about today. I'm Sabrina with Begin Being, for those of you who don't know me. For those of you who do know me, you know I do a lot. And that's part of what we're going to be discussing in this video. And with this YouTube channel, those of you who have been watching, you know that I've always said, I never started this YouTube channel to leave a horrible job. I've already done that, already accomplished that. I started this video, this channel to be able to grow with you, to be able to share my knowledge with you, to be able to get information out there that's not, okay, I love cat videos, and sometimes you need more information than just looking at funny animals do, silly things. And so that's the point of this channel, is to be able to help you and those like you be able to help you grow so that then you can spread your love and your light to others. Now, in order to start this, well, let me first give the disclaimers. So in no point did I ever feel that anyone was, I'm going to mention lots of different things, and I don't feel in any way that I was pushed by anyone else. I don't feel like anyone else, was doing anything wrong, or I don't, it was all me. It was all stuff that I was doing. It was all the actions that I was taking. So I wanted to be very clear up front in the video. And there's another disclaimer that I've forgotten at the moment. Maybe I will tell it later. But, I guess it kind of goes along with that of, again, in no way at any point during any of this did I ever feel someone or something or anything like that was doing anything to me. I knew that these were all choices that I was making. And all of this started around March going into April. I took a $16,000 training that really goes in and delves into anything you could possibly want to be able to release and to get rid of any of that ick from childhood, or any of those limiting beliefs or negative emotions, any kind of like anger, sadness, anything like that that goes in and really digs it up. And you spend like 7 days just digging up all of your stuff. And you work in a particular area of life. So there's different areas of life. There's like 6 general ones. Some people will break it down into only 5, or some people do like 7 or 8, but there's like 6 general ones. And the one that I was working on was career. You can do things like relationship, family, and which I actually did a little bit of those as well, because if you are kind of coming to a completion energy of whatever specific area you're working on, you can work on some other areas as well. Plus I had to heal some stuff in those areas to be able to heal some stuff in career, which happens. You can also do things like physical health, personal growth and development, spirituality. So you can do different areas. And the one that I chose, like I said, was career. And here's the thing, I love my job, which is why I never intended to be like a full-time YouTuber to where YouTube's the only resource of my income. Because like I said, I love my job. I also love doing YouTube. I love doing this too. And with working in a career, it wasn't that I wanted to quit my job. It wasn't that I was like working this horrible job that I wanted to get out of. I wanted to like shift things a little. So, well, let's rewind a bit. So we're gonna have to rewind a couple of times. And so like I said, this kind of all began in the March, April time period. And rewinding a whole bunch, back in, let's see, it was 2017. Prior to that even, but I was working what I considered a soul crushing job, the 9 to 5, working for a big corporation, corporate America, 9 to 5. And it was one of the jobs that my values did not align with the company's values. They did not care about their employees. They did not care about their customers. They were basically one of the companies that are too big to fail. I'll just put it that way. And so in that time period, I had been working for them for like several years. And in that time period, I was going through a lot of shifts, a lot of like reconnecting to myself and reconnecting to who I am as a person, who I'm meant to be, reconnecting to my path. And there was starting to be like a bunch of conflict. 2018, I took an NLP, Neurolinguistic programming training. I had been in the, my degrees are in psychology and sociology, so I've been in the field for quite a while. And I had known about the particular company that I took my training from. I had known about it since around 2005 or 2006 or so. And I finally went. And when I went, I really realized there are certain pieces of my life that really came together and was like, this is your path. This is a part of your path. And went on to some advanced trainings, became a master practitioner of NLP. And then I actually ended up working for the company I was taking the trainings from. So I was working for the office side of the company. So I am one of the vice presidents of the company. So Empowerment Inc., I'm one of the vice presidents there. Love my job, absolutely love what I do. I love the healing and the transformation that we are able to give to our students. Now, sometimes what happens when it's like you're walking your path, you know your goals, you know who you are, you know who you are meant to be. And sometimes during all of that, you can be slightly off, or perhaps maybe you're advancing to the next level. So for those of you who are watching, who are like, I hate my job, it's crushing me and who I am as a person, I can help you get out of that. I discovered how to get out of a situation where, and I've not just done it for myself, I've done it for other people, where you really just have this mismatch where you're not being the person who you're meant to be, where you're not on your path. So I got out of that and I got on my path. And again, sometimes it's either like you're going on the path and it's just slightly off, or it's okay, yes, this is your path. Now you're ready for the next level. And that's where I was at. And there was a little bit of resistance. I was resisting the next level because, like I said, I love my job. It wasn't a soul crushing job. I really do love what I do. And when you're ready for the next level though, and you're resisting it, like you're not going for it, then sometimes the universe steps in and says, like, knocks on your door, like, Sabrina, hey, so, when are you gonna step up? When are you gonna like level yourself up? And I'm like, what do you mean? I am leveling myself up. I was working on myself. I was doing all of these different things. Like I'm constantly working on myself because I love it. I enjoy it, doing meditations. I work on my physical body. I eat healthy. I do all of the things. And this little thing called, I don't know if you can say it on YouTube yet, but it starts with a C and to the D. You guys know what I'm talking about. And I think maybe it might be okay to say it now. I'm not sure. I don't think you'll get banned at this point. You never know though. But this little thing came along where people start sneezing a lot. Okay. So with this, there was a particular event where part of my job is, yes, I would work for the office. I was one of the vice presidents. And what would also happen is that sometimes our logistics team, so we go on site and we train people in NLP, in Neurolinguistic programming. We do some other trainings too, but that's the one we're focusing on at the moment. So we do these trainings. Oh, and at the time, let me back up a little bit more. So during 2020, I took a training called Trainer's Training, and that teaches people how to be a trainer of NLP. When I took the training, I had no intention of being a trainer of NLP. A lot of people don't. Most people who take trainer's training do not have any intention of actually training NLP. They take it for themselves. They take it for, maybe they're a YouTuber, for example. Lots of YouTubers will come and take the training. So, for me, it was, and I wasn't even sure I wanted to be back on YouTube. I had a channel way back when, and I had stopped it because the person I was working with at the time, she was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. So we had ended our channel. And as 2020 happened and I had the opportunity to go to this training, I went because at the time I was actually the director of a department, and I wanted to level myself up. And so I went for my team. And at the time I was also about to be a teenager, or a mom of 2 teenagers and single mom. And so I'm like, all right, I've got to up level my game. I've got to work on myself. I got to be able to know how to communicate in their language to, be a better mom, be a better person, be a better leader to my team. And all of those things, got accomplished. Obviously, I'm vice president now and stuff like that. Well, during this thing where people are sneezing all over the place, okay, maybe I shouldn't joke about that. So one of our trainers, she got that thing. And I was already set to go to Seattle because, like I was saying, part of my job is if our on-site team during a training needed extra help, I would go in and help. So we have trainers that teach the training, and then we have our logistics who handles everything in the background, taking care of the students, making sure they have their binders and their, all of the different things that they need. So I was on my way to Seattle to be able to help out because sometimes the logistics team is short-staffed or whatnot. So I was on my way to go, and there's several segments that are taught throughout the day. It's a 4-day training. And at that time, when I was going, I was on my way. I was at the airport and I was on my way to the gate, and my watch starts going off like crazy, what's happening, right? There's something going on. My watch doesn't normally just it's just going off. And so I'm well, I'm almost to my gate. So I get to my gate and I get my phone out and I'm looking, and it's my team, and they're like, Sabrina, where are you? And I'm like, okay, so something's not right. Something's not good. They know where I am. They know I'm at the airport, on my way. So I get on the call with the owner of the company, and he's basically like, hey, one of our trainers, she got that thing. And I'm like, oh no. We only had 2 trainers going to this training. We usually have a minimum of 2. Sometimes we'll have some more depending on how big the training is and everything. And we had 2 trainers going. One of them was our lead trainer and the other one was our co-trainer. And our co-trainer got sick. And obviously this is a time where you do not send the person in public. Like, that's not ecological at all. Not only that, but it wouldn't have been healthy for her. She needed to stay home and take care of herself. So I'm like, there was a segment that I kind of knew a little bit. And so I was like, hey, do you want me to teach meta model? And he's like, yes. And 3 other segments. So that's 4 90-minute segments that I had no notes for, nothing. And so I'm like, all right, okay. I should be in full panic mode. And so I allowed myself like the time to kind of like feel like, okay, right? And then I'm like, all right, go into trainer state. So one of the things that I learned at trainer's training was how to be able to handle something like that. How to be able to handle, you need to go give a talk and a moment's notice, go, do it now. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going into trainer state. I'm going into this thing called Hakala, which we also teach. It's like a Hawaiian way to see things. And I'm, grounding myself and writing my notes on the airplane. And so I do this, and not only do I do all of the segments, one of the students came up to me and said that she has taken the training before, and she said the way I explained meta model and the way the other teacher explained Milton model, which they're similar but kind of opposites, the way we explained it, she understood it for the first time. And that hit my heart. That really hit my heart of like, oh, I get it, universe. Okay, this is a part of my path too. Well, what do I do now? Because that wasn't my intent. That wasn't a part of my goals. So now it's okay, well, where do I go from here? As a company, we were like, well, how does it work with me being with the office and me being a trainer? And we're like, all right, well, let's see. So I was like a part-time trainer, a part-time office, and that was kind of working, except certain things kept happening. Strange things kept happening with our co-trainers. It was really the universe saying, Sabrina, you're supposed to be teaching. That's a part of your path, is to be able to teach, to be able to spread this knowledge. And so I'm like, okay, that's why I went to EMP. That's the $16,000 training I was telling you about. That's why I went to this training, to work on the area of career, because being a full-time co-trainer and being a vice president, it's too much. It's too much for anyone to be able to handle in the way that I was doing it. So it was like, it's decision time. What do I do? Where do I go? And that was like leading up to that training. Now, there was a few other things. I think we went a little bit too far forward. We're gonna reverse again. I told you we might be reversing a few times. So the other thing that was going on too is that I was putting different manifestations out there. There are certain techniques that I have learned through Huna, which is an ancient Hawaiian healing technique. There's also these things called pules, and they're essentially like a prayer with manifestation, with goal setting, like a SMART goal, if you're familiar with those. It's like a combination of a bunch of different ways to be able to take a goal that you want, like something you want to manifest, and to be able to put it into your future and set it there to where events like leading up to it line up behind you, to where you meet certain people, certain events happen, and boom, you get your manifestation. So in the meantime, like prior to this, I had been single for like 4 years. And so I'm like, you know what? I want my person. I want to manifest the person that I'm meant to be with, because ever since I was little, I've always just kind of had this belief that there's like this person that that's funny. I didn't actually realize I was going to be sharing this part. And I made a commitment to be completely vulnerable, maybe at the beginning of this year, or maybe it was last year. Anyway, somewhere in this channel, I have made this commitment to be completely vulnerable and open with you guys, because otherwise, if I'm not sharing my knowledge, if I'm not sharing my experience, how am I supposed to be able to help somebody else like you who might have had a similar thing, who might have these similar feelings, similar experiences? So bottom line is, I've always had this feeling that there is this connection. Like, I knew about soul families when I was a kid before I knew the term soul families. I didn't realize like what the term meant. I didn't realize that there was like a thing for it. But I've always just felt there are certain people in my life that I'm here to meet, that we are here to do higher work together. And again, when I was a kid, I didn't have a label for it, but nowadays people call it, or maybe they always did, but now I'm aware that it's called like a soul family. And so I've always known that there's these particular people that are going to come into my life where I'm going to have deep, strong connections with. And I was like, okay, 4 years, it's time, right? It's time. And so backing up even further, I did put these manifestations out there. I put these manifestations of achieving certain goals with my career, achieving certain goals with YouTube, achieving certain goals with just who I'm meant to be and what I'm meant to do in this lifetime. And one of those goals was manifesting my man, like manifesting the person who I'm supposed to be with, and with, that long-term, like, you guys have each other's backs no matter what kind of relationship, where you grow together, you learn together, you teach each other. Like, I teach him and he teaches me, and we continue to grow. So I have like these different things that you can do to like manifest that particular person into your life. So all of these things I was in the process of manifesting. So all of this energy is going on. And around the March time period, a lot of these things started to happen, started to come into my life. In April, I got into a relationship with someone who, he told me that I was his person. He told me that I'm like the one, he's been looking for. He told me he's all in. He told me all of these different amazing things. We had the whole end of the year planned out, and it was just this, and I know he's a part of my soul family. Whether he's the one or not, that's perhaps a different story and different video. And all of these things were happening. And so I'm on cloud 9, right? The shift from office to being a trainer is, it's on its track. I've got my man, everything is just sparkling, right? Just sparkling. Now, because I've been doing the trainer job plus the VP job for a while, yes, there was still some tension, because there was, I've been borderline on overwhelm, on borderline on burning out. And I knew I just have to get through just a little bit last part and I'm gonna be good, solid. Well, right at this time, one of our directors quit. And this particular person oversaw a huge part of one of our trainings. It wasn't just hey, I think I'm going on to do other things now. It was I'm done as of today. So there was no handoff. There wasn't here's what my department's been doing. Here's what you need to do to X, Y, and Z. There were also certain things that we need to be grading. This particular program is a year-long program. It's a coaching program. And so we take our students through a year-long program on how to be a coach. And there was just these things that weren't done. It wasn't appropriate. And I'm not saying anything that hasn't been told to the students. They all know this and everything. And this was part of the disclaimer in the beginning of the video. It's that I don't have any ill will towards this person. I don't have any negative feelings towards this person. This person had to do what they needed to do for them. They were going through something and they needed to do whatever it was they needed to do for them. And it's okay. In the meantime though, it left us going, what do we do? What do we do? And so me and the vice president of marketing kind of got together and we were like, okay, we got this. We will take care of it. We'll fix it. In the meantime, we realized that there was just a lot of things that were happening in the background that could be a lot more simplified. Not like nothing was happening like for the students. It was all in the background. So she was doing like double the work that she actually needed to do. And because of all this happened, it's like, well, let's completely look at the program and how can we make it better? Like this happened for a reason. So let's go ahead and look at the program. How can we make it even better? How can we grow the program? How can we make it like an absolutely amazing experience, not just for the students, which is what was already happening, but for employees as well. Now, what was happening was I'm still the vice president. I'm now full co-trainer. And now I'm co-director of the INC program. That's our coaching program. And so now I'm like, okay, this is a lot. And I'm organizing it in a way to where I'm staying ahead of everything. This is where the videos dropped off though. This is where I had stopped making the YouTube videos because I was literally just constantly working. And this is part of the whole disclaimer part. I really want to make sure everyone knows this was all my choice. I was doing this from my heart because I believe in these teachings so much because they're so powerful. And every time I see students come through the door and they walk in and they take their first training and they walk in with all of these different things going on in their head of like, I suck, I don't believe in myself, I can never accomplish my dreams, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. They come through the doors like that in those states of minds, and I see them at the end of the training transform. I watch them go from I can't, I'm not, like all of these limiting beliefs and negative thoughts to transforming to be like, hey, I can, I am good enough, I know what I want. And so because I see these huge transformations in people, from my heart, I'm not gonna sit there and just go like, this is too much for me. Sorry guys, you figured it out, peace. That's not me. That's not who I am. And it was really, really up there on the state of overwhelm, the state of burnout, the state of I meditate. That's part of who I am. And sometimes those were not available to me. There's just lots of different things that I was pushing to the side. And I went to 2 trainings back to back. I was in Florida training, then immediately flew to Chicago, did a training there. And then I had like a few days off because they're 12, 13-hour days. So when you do that for 4 days in a row, plus travel twice, your brain's pretty, fried by the end of it. And so for my birthday, me and the new boyfriend, we stayed it was also my birthday, and we stayed later in Chicago. We went to this amazing like Airbnb that was out in the woods, out in the middle of like nowhere, surrounded by trees. It was right on Lake Michigan. And so, we could walk down to the lake, and, we went swimming, and I did some release in the water. And there was a lot of just like in that energy of like being able to breathe. And with that, I was realizing, okay, I needed to take like that time kind of off to disconnect because I had been going. And I'm like, all right, let's regroup. I was getting plans together to be able to release some of the overwhelm, to be able to say like, okay, this team member, I need you to do this, and this team member, like being able to like give some of the things off to other people, because in that moment, especially with the coaching, I didn't even know what to tell anyone to do. Like, I couldn't give the work to anyone else because I'm like, I don't even know what to tell them to do. I don't know what to do right now because there was no handoff. And so I'm just looking through all of these different things like, okay, we need to do this, we need to do that. And it was right during the transition period, like we have 4 different modules. And so it was like right during a transition period from one module to another module. And the module that I was transitioning to happens to be like one of our busiest modules. So I'm like, okay, great, it's fine. Everything's fine. Anyway, so I was right at that point. And I fly home on a Saturday. The boyfriend lives in a different state. So he flew to his house and I flew to my house. And a few days later, on a Tuesday, he broke up with me. The person who said he was all in, he broke up with me. And that was the tipping point. That was the point where, hey, I have all of this overwhelm and all of this other stuff going on. I was like on the borderline, the edge of facing burnout. And he said, I still love you. I think you're great. I think you're amazing. And he said, there's something going on with him and he needs to go work on himself. Now, being a teacher of personal growth and development, I recognize how important that is. And so I can't even be mad at him. I can't even be like, like censored words, right? I can't even do that because I get it. Like, I totally understand the need for that. It was very disappointing that he felt that he couldn't do that with me, that he couldn't do that with another person, not just me in general, but with another person. And I get it because he too has spent like the majority of his life, single. And so I get how he kind of like goes inward and, talking to people he knows and stuff like that. It's like, yes, the way he heals is to kind of check out and to go inward. And he even told me that. And to me, I'm the type of person to where if I was experiencing something like that, I would share with my partner. So it was very difficult for me to understand the difference, for me to understand why you would leave the person who you think is like your person in a type of situation like that. There are certain nights, there are certain moments where it's like you feel you hit rock bottom. And even though I had all of these other amazing things going on for me, my career is great. Yes, there was a lot of things going on. Yes, I was handling a lot. And I love every minute of it though. That's the exciting part, is that yes, I was facing burnout. Yes, I was overwhelmed, but I was okay with that. But because I was on the edge of burnout, having the breakup happen right when it did, I felt completely betrayed by Source. I felt completely betrayed by everything I believe in. I felt like here are these wonderful manifestations that I had been working on, and then I got this manifestation and it was amazing and it was wonderful. And I was, like I said, on cloud 9 with sparkles floating around me. And it all fell apart. And literally when I woke up the next morning, I wasn't me. I didn't care about me. I didn't care about anything. I obviously took a day off work because I had no motivation. My goals were gone. I had intended, so yes, there was some time off of YouTube, and that was because literally my job was taking all of my energy. The part that wasn't taking my energy, I was spending on the new relationship and spending on my kids. So literally it was job, relationship, not in that order, but that's the energy that I was putting everything towards. And I didn't have time for things like YouTube. When I was working late into the night, sometimes I didn't get to my meditations, or I'd wake up too tired to do my meditations because now I gotta get into work, because I'd wake up like at the last minute. I work from home when I'm not on the road, so there was literally times when it would be like close to like being in the office time and I'm like just waking up because I had worked, you know, probably too late into the night. So I was tired, obviously, right? So with all of that, the breakup was like the tipping point. The breakup was like the explosion point. And I know those of you who have gotten this far into this video, you've experienced that same thing. You've experienced that point when you just break. And that's what I experienced. To me though, it wasn't that the relationship broke. It wasn't that anything else broke. Like I said, my career, family, all of that, good. All those pieces of my life, good. My physical health, amazing. What broke was me and my spirituality. Well, the relationship, obviously. It broke my connection to my source. It broke my connection to the universal power that I know that we're all connected to. And I was mad. I guess I couldn't be mad at the boyfriend, so I was mad at source. That makes sense, right? But the reason why is because I'm like, okay, I did all of the work. I've been doing all of the work. I do the meditations, I do the energy work, I do all of these things. I do all the personal growth and development. I have been working so hard on me. And I asked for these certain things and I got them. And then it fell apart. And I'm like, why? What happened? What did I do? So yeah, okay, hold on. I told you, we need to rewind again. All right, so there's this other process that I've been working on, which is trust the universe. I bought t-shirts. I literally did buy like a trust the universe t-shirt. That's just what I do. I don't know why I do these silly things, but well, no, I do. It's part of the manifestation process. But yes, I mean, I got the t-shirt so it's literally in my face. I would wear it. I would be it. Trust in the universe. When I was manifesting this particular person, I really let go. There's tons of videos on YouTube about letting go and, you know, about non-attachment and all of these different things. I did all of that. I did all of the things. And I'm like, universe, I trusted you. I trusted you. And so I felt betrayed. In all honesty, I felt betrayed by the universe itself. Whatever that is to you, like whether you say God or any of the other names for God, whatever that is to you, for me, my source, I felt it like it betrayed me. I felt like it broke my heart. And that sucked. That sucked a lot. So I went to Austin. A lot of my friends live in Austin. So I went to Austin and, you know, took some time off work, and some events happened while I was there. And I realized how important it is to be grateful for the people in your life. I didn't ask for permission to share, so I'm going to keep this very, very surface level because it has to do with other people. But basically something happened between a couple people when I was there, and I just kind of told them, I said, if there's love in your life, be grateful for it. If there's someone you care about, if there's someone who cares about you, be grateful for it. Whatever you have in your life, be grateful for it. And a lot of when this stuff was coming up, we happened to be in, it's this place called Krause Springs. And it's this like amazing nature sanctuary type place. They have a garden and they have a spring, and they've actually created, take some of the water and made a spring of it, or with it. And so we're on this hike, and we're hiking, and there's like water along the hike and stuff, and we're just hiking along this water, and I'm just looking around at the beauty of nature, and these butterflies are flying by, and all of a sudden I just realize how grateful I am to be here, to be alive, to be able to experience all of the different experiences that I've experienced throughout my life. Some of them are really horrible if you've seen my other videos. But the thing is that they've made me me. And through that experience and just being able to connect with other friends there, doing other things as well. And I also was like talking to people on the phone, so other friends were calling me, and one of my friends gave me the most amazing story about how when her and like one of her exes, when they broke up, how she literally thought it was the worst night of her life. And that worst night, she ended up meeting the person she is married to now, and they have an amazing son. And she was telling me just basically the story of how during that darkest point in her life, it was actually her brightest. And I came back home on Monday, and that Tuesday night, I really did some deep energy work. Maybe one day I'll talk about this is gonna be way too long, but maybe one day in a different video I'll talk about what exactly that work was. Actually, due to that work, there's gonna be some things shifting on this channel, different topics that I was given multiple downloads for. And so like the channel is going to go some different directions, some different expansions. We'll be talking a lot about masculine and feminine energy, and something that I discovered, like the difference between the energies and how you actually relate to them. And one of the downloads that I got was that when you are in the masculine and you are leading from the masculine, when you're leading from the masculine, you can actually lead the masculine, or you can lead the feminine. And through everything that I've been going through, I've realized there's a huge difference in if you are in the masculine energy and you are leading the masculine energy. You lead in a completely different way than if you are you're in the masculine and you're leading from the masculine and you lead the feminine. It's two completely different types of leadership. And there was just this, maybe somebody already knows about this, I don't know, I've just never heard it before. So it was a huge like aha moment and epiphany for me of different types of leadership and how different people interact and react to each other. So I'll be going over that more in future episodes. Definitely not enough time right now, but that was one of the huge things that I learned in that night, to where I literally felt like I hit rock bottom. I hit that point of, it doesn't even matter. Why are we here? Who cares? Who cares if we're here? Our lives don't matter. Nothing matters. And I was still mad at Source. Because why? Why would they do this to me, right? Like, why? That night, I went through such an energetic transformation. And let me be very, very, very clear. Here's another disclaimer. Be very clear. What I did and the way I did it, I would not recommend doing it alone, because there was a point when I was so scared. And there was a point when I was like, I don't care. I want this to stop. I want this to stop. I don't know if I can do this. The reason why I was able to get myself through it is because I have years and years and years of training on how to do multiple different modalities to be able to get someone out of that spot. So please if you're thinking, you want to try this, please make sure you're with somebody who is trained on how to be able to handle someone when they're deep in their negative emotions. I think I have maybe in my about section, I think I've listed all the different things that I do. Just a little disclaimer there. Do not try this at home, kids. So I'm in this space of healing, and in this space of, I actually, another thing that I do and that I did during this particular energy work that I was doing is I wrote a list of all of my intentions before going into it. And I wrote another list of all of my questions. So I had a list of what I intended to get out of the experience, and I had a list of all the questions that I had. A lot of them had to do with, why did you, me, source. So and it's interesting because after the experience, I went back and I reread all of my stuff, and I'm like, oh boy, there was so much baggage. Like, there was so much stuff in there that was not even true. It was not even true. It was just all of my stuff bubbling up to the surface, and I'm just like, the ending of the story and the good news is that not only did I reconnect with Source, I reconnected stronger than I feel like I've ever been. So sometimes when you feel overwhelmed, sometimes when you feel like you don't want to get out of bed, sometimes you feel like it's too much. Why are you doing this to me? Sometimes when you feel those emotions and when you feel all of that going through you, you'll wake up in the middle of the night in a panic mode, like straight on panic attack, stressed out, you're burnout. That's what I now know how to heal. That's what I now know how to be able to reconnect with Source, reconnect with heart energy. And that's going to be a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about on the channel. And really, that experience, I actually, there's this thing that you can do where you learn to see with your eyes closed. So it's like you're seeing without your eyes. In my reconnection of faith, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna trust you. And I literally just closed my eyes and I walked around my house with my eyes closed. And I realized that I can feel like energy around me. Like I can feel this bookcase around me. Like if you notice, like I touched it. It's because I knew exactly where it is to be able to touch it. And I've just done some other experiments since then with like seeing without your eyes. And it was literally just a simple like faith thing in the moment. And I discovered something so much deeper. And the most important part is, the key thing to remember, the key thing to know is that our souls are all here to learn lessons. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be like perfect lessons. It doesn't necessarily mean like the soul doesn't necessarily care if you think it's a good lesson or a bad, or not that the lesson is bad, but the event that helps you to learn that lesson. Your soul doesn't necessarily care if you think it's a good or bad event. What it really cares about is, did you learn the lesson? The interesting thing is, I'm talking about all of these different things that I was manifesting and all of this stuff. Well, part of what's included in my manifestations is I felt called for, I don't even know how many years now, for a really long time, to be able to work on the masculine and feminine energies and bring about more knowledge about those types of energies, those types of interactions, and really figuring out and honing in on what it's like to be in your masculine, what it's like to be in your feminine, the differences between the two. What do we have inside? I mean, we all have both inside of us, and when do you use one or the other, and so on. And interestingly, through all of this, there are certain things that I learned, like during that relationship and during the breakup, that perhaps I wouldn't have learned any other way. And there are things that I feel like are extremely vital to the knowledge of being able to re-harmonize and reconnect and balance the masculine and feminine energies, because during certain, like throughout certain points of history, there was more like feminine energy. For a really, really long time, there's been a lot more masculine energy. And then now it's gone into I'll just save time for this video. I'll make another video about it, but it's just basically gone into a limbo state to where those who like want to be male, because I mean there's also gender identities and stuff like that. I'm speaking specifically for those who like want to be male and they're like too much in their feminine, and then their relationships aren't working out and they're wondering why and so on. And the opposite as well, and everything in between. So one of the things that we're, like I said, I think it's a different part of the video we're going to be exploring is more about the masculine and feminine energy. And without all of these events happening, I might not have had that epiphany. I might not have had like that download, that information come in from source. And throughout all of this, my connection with source is stronger than ever before. It was as if I had to go through this complete, it's like the rising of the phoenix. I was actually mentioning this to someone the other day about the ashes of the phoenix, and about how sometimes when you feel at your absolute lowest, you feel like it can't get any worse than this. When you feel almost like maybe it's time for me to just exit. When you're feeling that type of energy and you crumble, you have that opportunity, if you're doing the work, to then be reborn. And when you're reborn, I promise you, you are stronger than ever before. Now, does my heart still feel some pain from the breakup? Absolutely, that's natural, it's going to. Time has to heal that. And I did so much energy work on my heart that it's whole, it's complete. Sure, it wants, a partner. That's natural, that's nature taking place. That's nature drawing in that energy. And at the same time, I know I'm whole and complete, just who I am and with me. And so if you're at that point, I promise you, it will get better. I promise you, if you do the work, if you work with me or if you work with anyone else who does healing work, this is something you can get through. And so interestingly, even though I was mad AF at source, it was actually giving me exactly what I asked for. I got my manifestations. There's really no reason for me to be able to say WTF, because I got it. I got what I was asking for. That's the other thing, that whenever you're manifesting things, these are multiple lessons that I have learned, and I'm very grateful for them. And it's be very clear on your manifestations. Be very clear on the energy you want to bring in. The person who broke up with me, I actually thanked him. I actually sent him a text message and I said, thank you for doing this. He kind of, I think, maybe misunderstood it, so I had to clean it up, like not actually thank you for breaking up with me, but thank you, like as in like, see ya. It was more of thank you for doing that, because had that not happened, there's several things that I either might not have realized, or it might have taken me a lot longer to realize. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier about when I was in Austin with my friends, and I was in this energy of pure gratitude. And that's actually a key part of this whole thing, is having that, coming from a place of pure gratitude and love. And when you come from that, when you're thankful for who you are, that heals your heart. So that's where I've been. That's what I've been up to. And maybe these videos won't be once a week right now still, because there's still so many things going on with everything in my life. And I know that's going to destroy my YouTube algorithm, which, kind of sucks. And I don't know what to do about that. If you have suggestions, if you're a YouTuber who doesn't post frequently, let me know. But again, it's like that catch-22, because again, I'm not doing this for money. At the same time, if I don't have subscribers, if I don't get into the algorithm, if 5 people watch the video, then it's not really getting the information out there, which is kind of the whole point, is to be able to get the information out there so people can learn, so people can grow, so people can have better experiences, so people who are having dark nights of the soul don't have to suffer alone. I love you. Thank you all for watching this video and every video. Thank you for supporting all of the YouTubers out there who are like me, pouring our hearts out, trying to help you guys, trying to help the planet evolve, trying to empower the planet, trying to grow, trying to learn. As always, please choose love in all that you do. Mahalo. What's the word I'm looking for? Well, I'm thirsty anyway. You know when you burn out.